Welcome Millhouse family. I'm going to take you through this week's meal. This week we are doing roasted potatoes with a Romesco sauce. It's also going to have some spiced pork braised Vindaloo. Then we're also doing a watermelon salad with quinoa. It will have pistachios and some feta cheese, and it will have a mint lime vinaigrette. Let's get started. For the salad this week, we are going to get started. We have our ingredients here. We have the watermelon, our spiced pistachios, the lime mint vinaigrette, our feta cheese, and our quinoa. So this one we're gonna put on a plate. And we're gonna start, there's lots of different ways to plate this. I'm gonna plate this a little bit off-centered here. So we'll get our quinoa kind of in a line here, flatten it out a little bit so it'll absorb some of the dressing. And then with the watermelon, we're gonna fill in the space. Get that in there. Last piece is on. Okay. And then, so what we're gonna do our dressing. So we want that over the watermelon, drizzle it around so that it absorbs down. And then we're gonna want a little bit of that over the quinoa as well. We may have a little bit of extra. And then we're gonna add the pistachios, have a little bit of chili on them, so if you don't like heat, then you can leave those off. And then we're gonna do the feta kind of down the middle. And then you can kind of pull some of that feta onto both parts. And we are set with our watermelon salad with lime mint vinaigrette, pistachios, feta cheese, and quinoa. To get started for our potatoes, I've got a nonstick pan over a medium heat. We've got our potatoes here. Depending, some of them will have some oil in them, some of them might need a little more. So we're gonna play it by ear. We may need to add some oil. But we'll go ahead and get those in a pan. It's a good sound. We want to hear some sizzling. And we want to try to get, as much as we can, we want to get some flat sides down on the potatoes so that we start to get a little bit of crisping happening. I'm going to add a little more oil. I can see that the pan's a little bit dry. Oil is going to help us, essentially help the heat of the pan make contact with the potato. So we want that to happen so we get some crispiness. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit as well. We're gonna let these cook for a minute and we'll come back and check on them. All right, our potatoes have been cooking for a little bit. We're getting some good sizzling happening. So we're gonna take a look. We're starting to see some color. That looks great. So we're gonna flip those a little bit. We wanna get that at least on one more side. We'll get these turned. We're gonna let them cook for another few minutes and we will come back and check on them again. All right, it's been a few more minutes. Potatoes are continuing to cook. We're gonna look on those other sides. We're getting some nice color. I'm gonna give them a little toss just to make sure all sides are warm. We're gonna let these cook for 2 or 3 more minutes. just to make sure they're all warm. Right now I'm gonna pour a little bit off. And taste them for seasoning. I need just a touch of salt. We'll toss that in. We will get these warmed up just a touch more. We'll get them in the bowl, and then we'll crisp up our pork. All right, it's been another minute or two. We'll give it one last toss. I'm just gonna dump them right into my bowl. And for now, I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm just gonna set them aside because we need to get our pork in. So this is the pork vindaloo. Let's dump that into our pan. And we just want to flatten that out. All we're trying to do here is heat it up. And we want some little crispy edge bits. So just try to get that flat. We're gonna let that go for a minute or two. We'll give it a flip. We'll come back and check on it. Our pork's been cooking for just a few minutes. We're starting to see on the edges, we're starting to see a little bit of crisping up, some browning, which is great. We're gonna just kind of shake it around, loosen it up, just give it a little toss. And we're starting to see some of that browning. So we're gonna let this other side brown for just a minute, and then we will come back and get this plated up. Okay, so our potatoes are in the bowl, they're still warm. We just finished browning our pork, so we're getting some nice color on that. Looks awesome. So we will mix that up. And I am going to kind of just do a line of the pork down the middle. So that's looking great. Then we have our Romesco. All right. Yeah, we've got our Romesco. So the red peppers and almonds and garlic, olive oil. We're gonna just dab that around. That'll mix in with the potatoes and the pork. And then a little bit of Parmesan. May have a little extra. Oh. That around. And we are set with our roasted potatoes with pork vindaloo, Romesco, and Parmesan cheese.